Welcome, this is Nathan and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at a scenario where the Netherlands forms an empire. This is one of, the final European countries I am shocked I haven't done. I mean, how have I not done the Netherlands? Honestly, how have I not done the Netherlands? We are now going to start working on the countries that I should have done. So the next few Empire videos will be Canada, Australia, Indonesia, South Korea, and Switzerland. But today we're going to be getting Netherlands out of the way because I feel like I should have done them ages ago. Now the Netherlands is in a very interesting spot if they wanted to form an empire. I mean, they're definitely in a really bad spot, but you know, they got the British over this way, the French down this way, and the Germans this way. Those are three very capable countries, and even then, outside of that, you've got Spain, you've got Italy, you've got Poland, you've got Sweden. Again, very capable countries. And in most, mapping games, the Netherlands always gets invaded. But today, they're going to be buffed up, seriously buffed up. They need to expand and make this empire. This wouldn't be possible otherwise. We're going to begin. So, Netherlands' first target will be Belgium. They used to actually own Belgium. Fun fact, the Belgians used to be part of the Netherlands, and they broke away after the Netherlands gained independence. Something to do with Austria, I believe. But the Netherlands will be invading Belgium. Belgium absolutely just stands no chance. Almost immediately, the Dutch will cut off the coast of Belgium. Oh yeah, NATO and all that don't exist. The EU as well, definitely. And we see Dutch forces completely moving in. They capture Brussels, and Belgium is wiped out almost immediately. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. Now, as we can see, there is no mercy on the Belgians. The Netherlands will fully annex Belgium. Now, the Dutch have to do this because they are in a very, very tough spot to even exist right now. But the next target is going to be Luxembourg. I don't need to show that. With Luxembourg down, countries around the Netherlands are okay, well, they form Benelux. Is that all they're going to do? No, of course it isn't. But Netherlands, and he said Belgium, the Netherlands is going to have to play their cards in a very tough order here. They're going to have to play them very smart. They're going to have to be very smart. So then the next play they will be making will be invading Denmark. Now, this is definitely interesting. Why are they invading Denmark? Well, we'll kind of have to. This is their next best option, and they decide that it's probably the next best play they do. So Dutch troops will land in Denmark, will begin to invade Denmark. And Denmark gets absolutely folded here, they don't get taken out in 6 hours, but we see the fall of the main peninsula is it a peninsula? I think it is. We see the fall of the main peninsula, and then we see a landing being made on this island. And before troops can siege Copenhagen, we have the surrender of Denmark. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. As we can see, in the peace treaty, the Dutch will only be annexing this area of Denmark, as Denmark will be left to their islands, making them an island nation. But at this point, the Netherlands has to make a really tough move. There's no more weak countries around them. Iceland's probably too far away, same with Greenland. So they need to make a decision of who they want to invade. Now, they're going to be picking a pretty unexpected person, but you'll figure out why. The Netherlands is going to go over to two countries and try and get an alliance. The first one is Poland. And Poland will actually accept this alliance. That is... Okay, let's just color them in red. Poland will accept this alliance. The next country they get a hold of is the French. Wait, no. Maybe... that... No, the British. For God's sake. I've changed my mind. I don't think I want them to have the French. So, the Dutch have just got the allies of the British and the Polish. What could they possibly be up to? Well, trying to get revenge for World War I and II. All three of these guys together will declare war on Germany. This is going to be the toughest war yet, but with the help of the British, I'm pretty sure they can do it. Now, something I must remind you about Germany, they have they may not be strong, but they have a really good defensive force. So when Poland begins to try and take Berlin, they absolutely fail. This is as far as they get. But for over here, and this is why, by the way, this is why the Dutch invaded Denmark. We see Dutch troops exiting from Denmark into the coast of Germany, and this is a surprise invasion. And we see troops from Luxembourg and the northern Netherlands exit out. We see the connection of these two troops by here, and we see the conquest of, I think, Hamburg, which should be around here, which is a huge loss for the Germans. They won't be losing Frankfurt. That will probably not go down, because Frankfurt is like kind of the economic capital of Germany. But what we do see happening is the Dutch pulling off a pretty good encirclement. Now, they are unable to kill the troops out of here, but just to let you know, they have encircled these troops. At this point, British help is arriving, as they're not really that far away. And we now have a goal to cut off Germany from the coast, which this is a really expensive and deadly cost. But Poland and Netherlands will be able to link up together, and will now attempt an encirclement of Berlin, but will fail. And, Germany, Germany's going to fight back here. Germany will make an attempt to push back to the coast, but will fail. And they also make an attempt to link up with these troops, which is actually successful. These are some huge losses for the Netherlands, as they probably were not ready for a war against Germany. But with the British now actually arriving in full force, this is where the war's going to start turning. The Dutch will now send a full-scale invasion, a very costly one, into this area, taking out all these troops. And we now see Operation Frankfurt take place, which is to capture Frankfurt, which goes successfully. With Frankfurt down, it's just, like, a couple of cities. I think Munich, I don't know how you pronounce the city, I think that one's still around. But, with the loss of Hamburg and Frankfurt, Germany is on the collapse. Dutch troops are now flooding in, like, mass across Germany, but this is very costly again. This will be a very costly war. And we eventually see the encirclement that was trying to take Berlin go successfully. Now, they don't take Berlin, but Berlin will remain uncaptured. At this point, Polish troops are now pushing back Germany, and eventually we see the capture of Berlin, which will basically lead to Germany surrendering. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. In the peace treaty, I'm going to change this a little bit. I don't like how it looks. I wasn't planning on giving them all land, but I'm going to give them this. Anyway, in the peace treaty, there we go. Should have really paused the video to do this. In the peace treaty, we can see that the Dutch and the Polish will annex a huge amount of land. Okay, actually, I'm just going to do that. The Dutch and the Polish will be annexing a huge chunk, will both be annexing land from Germany. The Netherlands will now connect up to Denmark, which is a huge gain for them, and as well, they gain, I think, Frankfurt. I'm pretty sure Hamburg's actually located up here. If they gain, if Poland, if the Dutch have been able to gain Frankfurt, they are going to have a lot of economic things coming in. But this was a very costly war for the Dutch and also the British, who well, they're going to gain like war reparations, but they're kind of out. Poland will stay allied to the Dutch, but the Dutch are now faced with another issue. Where do they expand? You still have a peace treaty with the Danish, and we still have a peace treaty with Danish. You now have a peace treaty with Germany. France would turn you inside out. So where do you go? Well, the Dutch are actually going to take a break for like a couple of years. I mean, a couple of years will be a couple of seconds for us, because we need to get this video done with. But they wait a couple of years, and then they just, after a couple of years, the world kind of thinks they're done with their empire. But then out of nowhere, the Dutch military will begin an invasion of Norway. Honestly, this is probably their next best option after everyone else they've invaded. So the I'm just going to call it Dutch Army. I don't want to call it Netherlands Army. The Dutch Army will make a surprising landing near Oslo and will actually capture the city almost right away. They have rebuilt from the invasion of Germany and are now stronger than ever. So Norway, you don't stand a chance. They already have an empire, so if you're offended by this, you can go watch the Norway Empire video. But just the Netherlands absolutely just wrecks the Nordics? Is it Nordics? Norwegians? I think it's Norwegians. But the Danish? Go through the Denmark Empire. We see a very successful invasion of Norway and, well, rip Norway. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. In the peace treaty, the Dutch will be annexing the most valuable areas of Norway. And for the rest of Norway, it's going to unite with Sweden. I'll be straight up honest with you. If Norway was reduced to this, they wouldn't be able to function as a country. There is, no chance in hell that this is mountains. Sure, there's oil there, but it's mountains. Why would you want to live in mountains? Anyway, the next target of the Netherlands is going to be the remains of Denmark, and you can expect how this goes. Yep. Rip the Danish. Don't get silent. So, Denmark has now expanded to Denmark has now expanded into almost all of their neighbours, and even Norway. This is where they're stuck though. Sweden, that's not on their list. They don't have any reason to invade Sweden. They don't want anything from Sweden. They don't have any interest in going back to Germany, and that would probably get a coalition formed against them. But they want to keep expanding, so where do you go? I mean, you can't really go anywhere. You're not in Tunisia, you're not involved. Where do you go? I mean, you have really nowhere to go. Well, the Dutch decide it's time for a French gangbang. The Dutch will get three countries involved in this French gangbang. The Polish, the Italians, and the Spanish. These four countries will all together invade the French Republic. Is it French Republic? This is absolutely terrifying, but luckily, France actually has somebody that's going to help them. Germany. Yeah, don't ask me why. Germany knew that the Dutch had no more plans to invade them, but here they are, involved in the war. Anyway, it's time for... This looks so odd. This is gonna be the hardest war that the Netherlands have done so far, and will be their hardest war. But they will begin their invasion into French lands, and oh my god, do they struggle! The French are not a joke. People underestimate France. I feel like people do underestimate France. The main thing that the Netherlands will do is cut off the border between France and Germany to make sure that these two don't have supplies going through each other. The Italians will capture Corsica, but they experienced some issues when invading France through the mountains. They kind of can't. Same goes for the Spanish. They kind of can't invade the French either. Anyway, coming up to here, the Polish are going to have a fun time against Germans. The German military is very weak compared to what it was against Poland and Netherlands last time. Poland and Netherlands will yet again cut off the coast of Germany, and this time this will absolutely cripple the German economy. And the Germans not having the economy or anything to be able to function in another war, they're going to bring to a collapse. Not really fully collapse, but they're getting pretty messed up. Will they collapse this quick? No, obviously not. But Germany will hold out here, as they just hope France can push back the Dutch. And that is exactly what the French are doing, as they are not struggling at all here. The Dutch really want to, even with their buffs and the amount of land they gained, I still don't think the Dutch will be able to take on France, and I'm not glazing France here. It's just France is such a strong country. The Dutch has a really good economy. I'm not gonna turn that down. I know the Dutch has an economy of like $1 trillion. Probably like 4 trillion now with all the land they have. Italy will push through the mountains and will capture Nice down here, or Nice, I don't know what it's point on Nice. And Italy will actually make a pretty good counter-offensive until France stops it. And Spain, you're slacking, what are you doing? At this point, the Dutch, they want to get Germany out of the war because they know how serious, they know that France is going to be able to push them out. Now, France is fighting a three-front war, which is why Italy's going so rampage. They're the strongest country, maybe the strongest country on the red team. But we have go eliminate Germany in place, and oh, does it work? It's a very costly one, but it goes successful as Germany's knocked out the war. And with all this good economic land gained, and also the fact that Poland's here, the French are screwed. Yeah. Seriously, above the Netherlands, who has control of all of Germany and all the Benelux and Norway and Denmark, Spain, Italy, and Poland with Berlin, they wouldn't win. This would be a very deadly war. It would be the most deadly war fought in Europe for a long time. But we eventually see the capturing of the complete coast of France, and the French army would be fighting back, but there's no way they can fight back against how many troops are coming against them. We see a very costly counter-offensive to Paris take place, which is successful. And we kind of see what they did in Iran in World War II, where we just see troops go all around the place, splitting France up. And eventually France will completely surrender towards these guys. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. Take a look at this peace treaty. The Netherlands are... they're scary now. The Netherlands will annex a huge piece of Germany and will create two German republics and also release Bavaria on their own. We see 2 new German republics being created, which are both puppets of the Dutch. Poland will annex another chunk of Germany, and, well, Poland's really just reverse Germany here. For France, this is where it gets scary. The Netherlands are going to annex a huge chunk of France. I think it was about this much. With the amount of land they've gained from this war, and the puppets they have, this is, by far, I will say it, probably the second strongest, okay, not including Russia, second strongest country in Europe. Behind the UK, third strongest if you include Russia as well. But these guys are scary. They are really powerful. I don't think you realize how powerful this country would actually be in real life. Spain annexed a piece of land from the French, and the Italians annexed a piece of land in Corsica. They were hoping for more, but, you know, it's not really their empire video. They already had theirs. I think I did Italy, right? I can't remember. Have I done Italy? But, and let me just turn Poland back. There you go. Oh, boy. Okay, hold on a minute. That's going to be doing it for this video. This is What If the Netherlands Formed an Empire. I haven't had this much fun recording an Empire video for a while. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.